Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And I just want to thank you guys. Another impromptu live stream, Motivation Monday. One of those things where we just kind of discuss eBay, and hopefully that gets you motivated. Sometimes working and listening to the eBay discussion kind of gets you in the mood to list, but it's a great way to start the week. And got a few things to cover before we get started. Want to let people give people a chance to kind of roll on in here. And if you are joining us today, please leave your comments in the chat so I can, or questions in the chat so that I can try to answer them if I can, or others might be able to do so as well. And if you're watching this after the fact, please leave your comments down below. No matter how you're watching this, though, hit that like button if you enjoyed the content. That certainly does help the channel. If you're watching this live, you can certainly support the channel with super stickers or super chat. That certainly is appreciated, very, very much so. And we should have about 30, 40 people. I'm thinking this will be about 45 minutes to an hour, kind of taking a break in between working. Have a bunch of stuff these are just the larger items behind me that I ship by UPS. And then I have the smaller stuff that's already been picked up. So I won't have the mailman coming to the house and knocking on the door during the live stream. I'm dealing with it's a virtual wind tunnel here in Las Vegas. It's like 20 to 30 mile an hour winds with up to 50 mile an hour gusts today. So it's, I don't know if the microphone will pick up the wind. It shouldn't, because it's noise canceling. But if you hear something weird, it's just this wind tunnel that we're in right now. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. We have Linda Baca that has joined us today. New to your channel, really has helped me with eBay. Thank you for joining today. As always, we have LSGS Rob. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you. We have my lovely wife, Jenna. She's upstairs in her office working, and she's taken the time to join us today. We have Austin. How you doing, Austin? And Ellen, I don't want to butcher your last name. Zwifach? I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered it. I am not good with names sometimes. Elio Mora, hey bud, thanks for the content. Thanks for showing up and helping me. I can't do these live streams without your participation. So the fact that you guys are here is pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and at least get to the little bit that I have here. As you see in the title, I was wrong about the eBay app, and it's sort of kept me from really using it. But I was initially turned off by this particular feature, and I gave it another try because I currently use, for background removal, I use Photo Room, pay the $60 a year subscription for it. And it's been okay. I mean, I'd say 80 to 90% of my photos come out fine. If I have a white on white background, a white item on a white background, which is the majority of my items are taken on a white background, it has a hard time really figuring it out. And sometimes I have to go in and zoom in and kind of use the brush, and it asks me, hey, what's the problem? And there's a little pop-up thing that comes up. And I've tolerated that for months. And now they've gone in and just changed it and just did all kinds of craziness with it. So I'm just not happy with it anymore as I was. And so I said, you know what, let me try this eBay app again. I loaded my photos in a listing I was doing out my work area, and it worked. The background removal worked. A couple of them I wasn't quite happy, but I mean, that's what it is, white on white background. And you zoom in, and they have a pretty decent function. And it's like, why am I paying $60 a year for this app that does the same thing that I can get in the eBay side? So I think maybe eBay has gone in there and maybe tweaked some things and improved it. So kudos to eBay. I mean, for those of you who think all I do is hate on eBay, here we go. Kudos to eBay for at least making that feature usable and it's something that I'm using. Going to be canceling. Unfortunately, they hit me for that $60 a couple months ago for the renewal. So, I'll tolerate Photoshop like when I need to use it for YouTube thumbnails and stuff like that. But for eBay, it's just too simple. I don't need to go through. It's on my phone already, so I go through Photo Room and I get all the photos, background removed, send it over Dropbox over to my computer, and then I take my draft that I make outside when I'm out in the garage, come in here and I add the photos. It just seems like too many extra steps when eBay can do it for me and they're not charging me anything for it. So just want to say I was wrong. And definitely, if you're looking at a pretty decent background removal tool, it's probably not the best, but for the price you're paying, it's pretty darn good. LSGS Rob says, Photo Room is great. I only use it for my main photo, but I've never had any issues with it. And I'm not saying it's bad. I don't like what the changes that they've made recently. Like I said, it does work for me with my YouTube thumbnails that I make, that type of thing. But as far as just everyday eBay usage, if you're already using the app, now some of you don't use the app. You take your photos, you send them to your PC or your Mac, and you're in here doing the whole listing. I can get it. If you're not using the eBay app, then yes, Photo Room is definitely still a doable thing. But if the tool is already built in the app and I'm already using the app, and I think the app is very convenient, I can go in and fix my listings after I launch them, add whatever item specifics, change this and change that to the description. If it's already built in and it does a good job, then it just doesn't make sense to spend on it. We have a question here, and then I'll get to Linda's been very patient. Linda Boca, can you explain what one should do every day to make sell similar in listings? Well, it's the formula that a lot of people use, and that is go in and you're constantly, of course, listing at least 5 or more items a day if you can. And that's why if you're not, let's say, listing on a particular day, you at least want to have 5 drafts that are already ready to go, that you launch, take you 5 minutes to do it, and then you're done for the day, right? But as far as my routine, I'll go in and I'll sort all of my listings by time left. So I'll then go to the last page, and anything that is going to end within that day, I'll go in and I will do the drop-down menu for that item. I'll right-click. I'm on the PC. Right-click on Sell Similar, so it creates a new tab. And then I'll continue with that drop-down box. I'll go and hit End Item. And then I'll go in, and for every item I've sold similar, I'm going to go in and tweak maybe the photo, the listing, the price. These are all factors that are why your item's still up for sale. And I'll launch that listing. I won't allow eBay to launch the listing and recycle it unless it's a listing that has previous sales, let's say a multi-item listing. I will also go in and do a bulk edit on any item that's older than 7 days. And I will go in and I will tell eBay to reduce the price, the buy it now price, by 0.2%, and no lower than, I think, like $5, because I do have some small ticket items still on my store. And that lowers your price by a very, very small amount. But you do that every day, and you continually show eBay activity for those listings. And eventually you're going to get your item down to a point where it's going to be, a little bit lower, and maybe someone's looking for your item to be a little lower before they buy it. So, and that's just the number I use. You can use 0.2% like I do. You can use, 1%, 2%. I decided to do it in very small increments because I do have some larger ticket items that I have on my store, and I'm not interested in just doing this like in different stages. I just want to do it one and done kind of thing. So I'm showing eBay activity that I'm lowering my prices. There's a lot of different things you can do. I think a lot of times we're so focused on getting more inventory up. Like, I'm focused on getting more sourcing, and we tend to forget the items that we have up for sale. It's like a set it and forget it mentality. And you have to be able to get out there and every day spend some time with your current listings to find out, look at your competition. If you have an item that's been sitting there for a while, find the same item, check the comps again. The markets do change. What was selling for $90 2 months ago, 3 months ago, may only be selling for 50 or $60 now for a number of reasons. Maybe new models have come out of that item, just a lack of interest, that type of thing. Always factor in your cost and then see how far you can bring that price down. If it's been sitting in your store for a while, you're only hurting your metrics on eBay by allowing it to recycle. And that's something I'm dealing with as well. I would like to see a bigger turnover in my store. Unfortunately, it's just not happened. But of course, I need to spend more time. I'm going to spend a few days this week because if you watch my last video, I don't have a whole lot right now. Thursday, I'm getting in more items for sale. Thankfully, I just picked up a pallet and I'm very, very jazzed about that. It's really kind of put a pep in my step. I woke up this morning, with the goal of, doing some sourcing and hopefully finding something. But what I'm finding is people are kind of getting carried away. Things that we're selling, pallets that we're selling for, let's say $300, $400, maybe $500 are going for $800, $900, maybe $1,000. And some of these are like unmanifested. So it's kind of mind boggling to me. And I think that's because my theory is still the same. I think these big bin stores around the country, mostly on the East Coast, have really taken a lot of the supply away and created more demand for liquidation goods. And it's made it harder for the average guy like myself to pick up that pallet that they're used to picking up at a decent price. My 40/40 model, it still works. I'm well below that still, but I was well below it still before, and I'm just paying more now than I was in the past. But I guess that's just the way it is, the cost of doing business. So hopefully, as a long-winded answer to your question, there are things you can do. Check your competition. Check to see, you have that. Let's just say you have that electronic item or that jewelry item, right? See what other sellers are selling similar. Go and check their listings. Click on their solds to see how many they've sold in the last 90 days. I like to do that to check different stores and competition. It is always a good idea to be in tune with what your competition is. I think a lot of times we're just on an island and we forget we have competition. If you have an item that, let's say 100 other people are selling, you're going to have a hard time moving that item if as compared to, say, if you're only dealing with 10 competitors. So just something to consider. There's a lot of intangibles that are out there. Could be a lot of different things. Like when people ask me to look at their store, there's a lot of things that I can look at your store, but there's so many things that I'm not aware of. Like, I haven't dove into your competition. I don't know your cost of goods. I don't know how low you can go. All I can really do is just check the quality of your listing, your photos, your title, the verbiage you use in your descriptions and things like that. The rest is basically, there's so many intangibles, but you need to be in tune with that if you want to be a little bit more successful. Wanted to hit up on a article that came out today on e-commerce bites, and it's something you should be doing every month, and that is checking your invoice, your eBay invoice, because eBay, as many of you guys know, eBay is very happy to bill their buyers, or actually bill their sellers for extra stuff. That's how they've made a lot of their profits over the last couple of years. And they're doing it again. A lot of people are seeing that there's charges for like add-ons like gallery and subtitles and bold listings and things like that. And when you go into the lister and you're listing, there is no confirmation or anything. If you accidentally click on that to have your item as a bold listing, it's going to charge you for it once you hit to launch the listing, and you may not even know that it's clicked. Like for instance, if you're entering something in the SKU, SKU, that's what I used for my organization. So if I have something in rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, that type of thing, I'll put it in the SKU or the SKU, if that's the proper pronunciation. And by accident, maybe you are putting it in the subtitle area instead. Maybe you're sort of on autopilot. You're going through creating a lot of listings. So some of this is also human error. So just check your item and make sure that you're not making that mistake, because if you just put something in the subtitle area by accident, you're spending $2. And I found that before. So take a moment, and this is all part of account maintenance. Again, I was telling you to take time to check your competitors, check your listings, but also take that time to check eBay to make sure they're not gouging you, because you may come across the listing where you did make a mistake. It could be a glitch. And at what point, and I guess this is a question for you guys, put your comments down below. At what point do you call eBay or have them call you to fix an accounting error? Is it $1? Is it $2? Maybe it's $20. Again, this is kind of like the video I made a few days ago. What's your price? How much you're going to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes on average getting it resolved, assuming they call you back right away. So what's your price? At what point do you just blow it off and say, you know what? I don't care that there's extra charges on my account. It's not worth my time. Or are you on them? If it's $1, you're going to be calling them. So I'd like to hear from you guys. Put your comments down below. Let me know how you think on that. So that's pretty much the content that I have. Of course, I'm going to rely on you guys for the rest of this video to get us through. We're about 16 minutes in. We got about 45 people with us. So thank you for joining. Let's see who else we have with us here. We have No One Design 2. Hey, John and Miss FAE. Thank you for showing up like you always do. I appreciate that. And I try to have these live streams at different times. So some a little earlier, some a little later. Trying to catch different people. But I keep seeing the same names, and that just tells me, hey, you're flexible, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. I certainly appreciate that. Elio Morris says the app is the fastest way to take pics and directly list, and it works good. It's fine. I don't have any issues. My main concern months ago was the quality of the background removal tool, and it seems that they fixed that. And you can zoom in, you can take the brush, and you can toggle between. What I'll do is, and it's not the best. The eraser tool is not the best. But I'll go in there and zoom as far as I can. And sometimes it'll go into the product itself. So then I'll just toggle over to the actual brush, and I'll just kind of paint back the part that I erased. And it works good. It looks really professional, and I'm happy with it. Linda Boca says, I so appreciate your advice. Thank you for taking the time. And that's kind of what I do. And for those of you who don't know, I have a background in helping people, and I've sort of missed that aspect of my old job, and that's one of the driving factors of this particular channel. So, thank you guys for being here and bringing your questions. Semperfi 1918 said, just sold 2 items yesterday. Need to boost my sales up. Had someone ask about reduced shipping, so I asked how much. No reply. And sometimes you're going to get that. I had somebody, and I had a really cheap video game. They said that they're collecting these video games, and it was sealed. They want to make sure it was perfectly sealed because they collect them. And went back and I double checked because I was sure it was, but last thing I want to do is to say it is, and then to find there's a rip in the cellophane. And I told this person that it's in perfect condition, and I even made an offer, and I never heard back from them again. So you never know. Maybe, and a lot of it is dependent on how fast you get back to them. If remember, these people are on eBay looking for whatever they need to buy to fulfill whatever they need. So, and whether it's a need or a want, most of the time, people will resolve that need within 30 minutes to an hour, just going through eBay, maybe Amazon, Etsy, or maybe another avenue. And if you're late to the game, it may be out of your control, which is why I tell you, If you can, stop what you're doing and get back to that buyer as soon as you can. If you're late to get back to them, they're going to move on and find another way to fulfill that need. And so that might be what happened in this particular case. In my case, it was a question that was asked in the middle of the night. Of course, I'm sleeping. I wake up in the morning and I give the answer as quick as I could. But chances are that person did the same thing. They weren't willing to wait for that answer. Austin says, you think normal people are finding these pallets and just keeping what they like and trash the rest or gift? Not really. Not really. I mean, I personally have found a pallet that had an item in there that I currently have. I'm a golfer. I do all kinds of things. You guys know I bowl, I golf, I play poker, I do all kinds of things. But, one of these things that I found is like, ooh, this is a $500 item. I would not normally ever invest $500 into my golf game just on a whim, but maybe I can justify it by saying, hey, I've been wanting this particular item, and then sell the rest of it. And I did that, and it, worked out pretty well. But there's just so much stuff in these lots that it would not really make sense unless they really got a good deal on it. And, like for instance, I come across a lot of Home Depot lots, and while I bought them before in the past, I've sort of been gravitating to them because there's not a whole lot of other stuff out there. And I can see like contractors buying these 6, 7, 8 pallet lots up and, taking these items to like maybe a storage unit, going through the stuff that they're going to need for their next job, and maybe saving money that way. But yeah, it's worth, it's a good thought. But I could tell you the shortage has come since the whole bin store thing blew up like a year ago or so. And it's been harder to get merchandise, at least for me. And then when I go locally, the lots just aren't up to my standard, because I'm not going to buy a lot when I see maybe 1 or 2 items that look promising, and then have to deal with the rest of the stuff that could be junk or unsellable. And then I'm not making any money at all. And I'm just trying to catch up. The worst thing you want to do as a reseller when you buy liquidation is to be in a position where you're just putting all this work in just to try to get your money back. That's the worst feeling. I've been there, I've done it. And it's made me a little bit more leery when it comes to buying lots. So that's why, I could probably, I tell you guys all the time how I have problems finding stuff to sell, but it's only because I'm falling within my 40-40 model, and I am being very particular because I don't want to make that mistake that I've made before. That's why it's so important for you as a reseller to get in there, make the mistake. If you're buying liquidation, make the mistakes, right? Buy the stuff that seem promising. The comps show that eBay showed that it's sold before, and you get in there and allow yourself to make mistakes so that the next time you know what works and what doesn't in this particular case. Let's see. Linda says, I'm selling 3 top designer names not a lot of sellers have. Well, that's good. You don't have a lot of competition. So it could be just quite a few different reasons. I don't know if you're getting these from liquidation. I don't know if you're buying these at yard sales, thrift stores, that type of thing. There's ways of finding how that item does. Like for instance, if that item also sells on Amazon, you can get an idea. Does it have a lot of reviews? If it's an item that has only like 100 reviews, chances are it's not an item with a lot of demand versus one with, say, thousands of reviews. And that's other things you can kind of consider when you are buying something to resell. Check Poshmark, see how often that item shows up. Right now, there's a lot of people that aren't buying the top name stuff. Maybe they can't afford it anymore. The economy's not great. We've talked about that many times. So there's just so many intangibles that go along in it. That's why it's so good to be in tune with not only what you're doing, but what your competition's doing as well. No One Designed 2 says, quick question. I was experimenting with Cal shipping on eBay. Sold an item for $41. Cal ship was $22, but found a different shipping for 18. Does eBay credit the buyer or seller the difference? Oh, you mean calculated shipping? Okay, I was wondering, California? No, calculated shipping on eBay. So the shipping was 22, but you found 18. They don't give the difference back to the buyer. So if you charge 22 and it's 18, now some sellers will go back in and say, hey, here's the difference back to you. The buyer has no clue at all that you've underspent for that label. And some sellers just feel like they are obligated to give back that $2, $3, $4, $5. But I think that's a mistake, because there's times where calculated shipping has maybe put me in a position where I'm paying an extra dollar or two out of pocket. Maybe I mismeasured something, because I always measure it when I list it, and I'm measuring it again when I'm shipping it. Maybe I have to figure out a different box because the box for this particular item just isn't working right. So it's going to require me to go out and get a different box, right? These things all cost money. I just spent like $100 for bubble wrap to be shipped out to me. That ain't free. And of course, if my calculated shipping is correct, and I always will overestimate by around a pound, because maybe your packing materials, they do weigh something, and maybe that packing material will bring you up to your actual weight or even beyond it. I am not going to give back any money if it's lighter, because I'm out of pocket on other stuff. It all averages itself out, but don't feel obligated to give money back. That's just the way I feel, because your buyer has no idea. They agreed to pay that shipping. Now people will complain, hey, why is your shipping so high? And maybe that's a sign you need to go check your listing. Maybe there's a mistake. But for the most part, there's the cost of doing business, and there's the gains of doing business. And in my opinion, it pretty much evens itself out, at least on the shipping side. And LSGS Rob says, don't worry about refunding the difference to the buyer. We get a discount for being a seller. If you aren't making money on shipping, then you aren't doing it right. Any business that is online sales makes money on shipping 100% of the time. And what I do is this is what I do when I set up my calculated shipping. I have a single calculated shipping policy that calculates UPS ground, and I add $1 to the handling. eBay gives you the option. You can add whatever amount. If you are shipping out huge items, I would say, $2, $3, $4 handling. You got to drive, unless you're having someone pick up these packages, you're going to have to drive these boxes like the ones I have behind me. I'm going to have to drive them to my local UPS store, get out, park, bring these in one at a time or two at a time, whatever I can do. And it's worth something. That's my time. It's my gas. It's not fun to do, especially on a day like today when it's, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour winds, that type of thing. So, when I have to take extra care and extra time to make sure these boxes aren't getting blown out of my hand or anything like that. So, definitely, it's not a sin to make money off of shipping. eBay gives you the ability to add handling, use it. Don't feel bad about it. Now, you will need to, let's say you're selling a certain item just fine, and you jack up your shipping rates or add a lot of handling, and you're no longer making sales on that particular item. Well, maybe the actual total price has scared away. Maybe it's brought your item beyond the market price, and you need to reconsider. Just something to think about there. Had a buyer open a item not as received case or item not received case last week. Tracking showed delivered. The buyer proceeded to send me the most vile and disgusting messages I've ever seen through eBay contact system. It's funny. I don't know if you guys have this app. I have this app on my phone. It's the Neighbors app by Ring. And I get notifications almost every day. And of course, I go and click on it. And there's Ring footage of people who are stealing packages off of people's porch. And I wouldn't doubt it if this is something that's happened here, where your buyer, maybe they're at work, the item was delivered around noon, they don't get home till 5 o'clock, and someone has already stolen the package off of their porch, and now they're wanting to take it out on you. But good news is eBay will have your back as long as you have that scan. And of course, someone wants to talk to me on eBay when I'm not on eBay, so they'll have to wait. But that scan is everything to eBay. And if they open an item not received case, you have the tracking. Of course, eBay is going to make you put the tracking number again, even though they already have it. But for me, I would say have eBay call you back while you're working, have it on speakerphone, and just let them know, hey, they open an item not received case. I've replied to it, but you guys can see it's been delivered. Please close the case. And I've had them do that. So it's not anything to get really worried about. I can assure you that. No One Design 2 says, I never refund the shipping difference because I do plus and minus shipping. So sometimes you win on shipping, sometimes you lose. Like that other video I made where I lost $80. That wasn't something I did wrong. That was something that was totally goofed up on the way eBay calculates their shipping. And you know what? You eat it, you move on, and you learn from it. Let's see. Elio Mora, the other man, thanks for all. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully you have some other questions I can help you with. Look this buyer up. So this is the one with the item not received. Look this buyer up, found that they were 101 years old. Wow. Leaving deeply disturbed feedback to sellers. Clearly bipolar. eBay ended up closing the case in my favor. Yeah, and it does, but you know what? It worked here. It doesn't really matter what the buyer's condition is. If you have that scan, that delivery scan, then even an attempt to deliver the item. So let's say like you have a USPS item and eBay made an attempt to deliver. That's enough for eBay to side in your favor. Austin says, pocket that leftover shipping costs. You deserve it. I agree with you 100%. Let's see. And then No One Design 2 says, just curious because the buyer paid $22, but I shipped it for $18 on my cost breakdown. eBay charged $22 instead of $18, though I shipped it through eBay. Okay, so if that's pretty odd, because if it's a UPS or FedEx label, they're going to get billed after the fact. eBay will. And then, of course, they pass that on to you, usually after the item has been delivered. So I'm wondering if that's a USPS label or one of the other carriers. A lot of times, these companies, UPS Ground, FedEx, will add surcharges onto the label. And you'll want to go in and you can investigate to find out what that is. If you go to the your orders and find the item and click on, I believe, more information, there should be a place where you can go and click that'll give you the breakdown of what was charged to you on that label. Let's see. Julie Powell says she has a question. I had a customer refuse UPS delivery 3 weeks ago. I only know this because that's what the tracking says. They haven't contacted me or asked for a refund. Ever had this happen? I've had it happen to where the address they gave me was not correct and the item was sent back and they never contacted me again. Of course, I reached out to them. I said, look, this item was a return to sender, so I have it back. You can send me your email address for your PayPal, and here's what it would cost to ship this out again. Or if I don't hear back from you, or if you just don't want it, I'll go ahead and refund this money back to you minus the original shipping charge, because it isn't my fault. I only ship it to whatever address is plugged in. And if you maybe moved, didn't update your shipping information on eBay, that's not my deal. I shouldn't be out of pocket for that. And if I don't hear back from them, I'll just go with plan B and refund less the original shipping cost of that particular item. Let's see. LSGS Rob, Amazon is a massive multi-billion-dollar contract with UPS. Even though they have free shipping on everything, they essentially make money on the shipping. Most businesses make money on shipping. I heard kind of the opposite on that. I heard that they're losing quite a bit on the shipping side at Amazon. Um, they have so many different things in the background that they have a stat software that they sell a lot of the major sports leagues, and forgot exactly what that was off the top of my head, but they have so many things that they're involved in. They make so much money that, even if they did lose money on shipping, it wouldn't be a big deal to them. They're feeing people to death on Amazon too for, all those items that are being sold that you buy. Those, I think, at a tune of about 15 to 20% the last time I checked. Let's see. Bonnie Brink says, do you use retail shipping rate on your listings? No, I don't. I give the buyer I click on the option in your shipping preferences on eBay to extend the discount that they give us. If you're a top rated seller, they'll give you a discount, sometimes 20, 30, 40% off of retail. And what I simply do is add that dollar to the cost of what it would cost me, which covers my supplies, my bubble wrap, my tape, my boxes, things like that, my gas. And if I have, let's say, 30 items over a weekend, I'm making, large items, I'm making $30 on the side, but eBay takes their 15% roughly, depending on what the item is. So you're not even seeing a full, dollar in that case. So it just adds up in the long run. We have Jason in the house. Jason Neal. Hello, Mr. Drizzle. And I guess that's a weather related thing, but I still don't get it. I understand what you're saying, but I still don't get it. When you explained it, it's odd, but thank you for hanging out with me. I certainly appreciate that. LSGS Rob, no, when you do calculated shipping, the buyer gets charged the retail rate, not our discounted rate, unless you had it set up that way. But I do. I have it set up that way, mainly because, of course, here's the thing. I take my shipping, instead of incorporating that with the price and saying, okay, I've got this $40 item, free shipping, right? Free shipping, even though shipping isn't free. After shipping, I'm really getting maybe 3/4 of that, maybe half of that. I'm incorporating my shipping, so I'll price that as, say, maybe $24.99 plus, $9.99 or $15 shipping, whatever calculated is for that person. And that's because I'm utilizing my discounted rates. So when of course, if I have the shipping set up correctly in my listing, correct weight, correct dimensions, it will give me an accurate amount, usually $1 underneath what the buyer's paid because of that extra dollar that I'm charging them. And it allows me to stay competitive with my pricing. I can tell you, if you do not check that box and you have calculated shipping and you're using UPS ground, you're going to scare a lot of potential buyers away because the cost of shipping is just going to be astronomical. It's not going to be competitive. Now, maybe you can get away with that on some of your listings, and maybe you currently do that. But if you're experiencing slow sales, you may want to consider checking that box to allow the buyer the same discount you get, and maybe adding a few bucks to your handling if that's kind of how you want to do it. And D. Rizzo says you pay for boxes, packaging, and storage. The cost of these are offset by shipping discounts. I agree with that. Glenn Mott says, anyone other than me selling used car parts on eBay? Not used car parts. Sometimes I'll get the open box. Maybe they buy an item on Amazon, a car part, and they bought the wrong part. I mean, I'm sure you get that a lot, where people buy the wrong part and they send it back, and these end up in my liquidation lots. And I'll do the best I can to sell these items. But, generally, I think that's a pretty big market, though. I don't know if anybody watches this channel that sells used car parts other than yourself. But if you have a specific question to reselling the car parts, maybe we have someone that's watching that can help you. I do know that if you watch the Crazy New York Driver channel, Joe DeMarco, he's the hubcap guy. He sells a lot of used hubcaps. and I know he does really well. Let's see. Chucky says, really, it's the USPS fault if no one is at home. They're supposed to leave a slip for redelivery. Not all the time, though. A lot of times, if you have just a UPS ground package and the shipper doesn't specify like signature confirmation or delivery confirmation, that kind of thing, that extra charge that you pay, then it it can definitely show as a delivery scan, and they are allowed to drop it off. That's why if you ever sell on Amazon, it defaults at signature confirmation. If you turn it off, like I do on anything that's like under 200 bucks, um, if the buyer goes to Amazon and says, "Hey, I never received it," I believe Amazon isn't the same way as eBay. Think that they're going to take the side of the buyer and kind of put you out there on the hook for not using signature confirmation. So just something to keep in mind. But these porch pirates are bad. There's people that need money. I guess I'm justifying bad behavior when I shouldn't. But you've got bad people with bad intentions out there. And if you know you're not going to be home, and you need to order something on eBay, Amazon, or whatever, have your neighbor, have someone you trust or know. Maybe they're across town, but it's well worth making sure it's delivered to someone that's going to receive it than to have to deal with all that hassle, especially if you're dealing on a high ticket item. B2U says they charge us final value fee on the total with shipping, so I don't pass it on to the buyer. Yeah, you're right. They do on everything, even the tax. We are hit with a final value fee on, and I just don't see the benefit. I mean, yeah, you're making money. If you're charging full retail, maybe you're making $5, $6, $7, $8 per package difference once you utilize your discount. But I'm wondering if you had the actual your actual cost plus a certain dollar amount in there, if the shipping would lower in your listings and you'd get more traction just because your prices overall are lower. I can tell you when I go on to eBay or Amazon, sometimes I'll go on and I will sort by the cost, the lowest first. And if your shipping is too high, it's going to make you shoot down that list maybe further than you want to be. Jenna says, our brother-in-law works for Amazon. He's in corporate and says they lose money on shipping, figures in the millions. But again, it's the cost of doing business. But they make so much money on everything else that they do. Primarily all the sales they make, if they have 10 times the business as eBay and they're feeing everyone 15 to 20%, they're making good money. Let's see. No One Design 2 says the only other reason I can see why this is happening is because I don't offer combined shipping, because calculated shipping is grayed out under shipping preferences. That's odd. I don't know why that would be. You might want to check your listing again just to make sure. Maybe you have to start a new shipping policy, but that shouldn't be, calculated shipping shouldn't be grayed out for you. Eileen Zwef, I apologize. I'm just going to call you Eileen, if that's okay. Or Ellen. I butchered your first name too, I think, the first time. I went from top seller to understandard overnight. It gets even worse. I have been with eBay since 1998. So is that because of your returns being too high? Maybe you had some defects. That's one thing a lot of us sort of sleep on is the defects in our account. If you have eBay step in to do anything on your behalf that they expect you to do, like a refund, even if it's a glitch and you have no way of refunding that on your own, they will hit your account with a defect for every one of those they have to do. And after, I believe, 2 defects, it puts you into that mode where you're below standard. And, account maintenance is everything. Make sure you're following up on every request you get. You don't let anything time out, because that'll hurt your account with a defect as well. And you stay on top of things. Contact eBay. Have them explain to you exactly why they're doing this. Let's see. Mark with a silent Q. Fun listening, but gotta go. Weird listening to you on normal speed makes you sound really run down when not at 1.5 speed. What do you want to? You want me to sound like a chipmunk? So that's really crazy. I hope that I'm not sounding run down. I just want to, I have to keep in mind sometimes I speak really fast, and sometimes I can speak faster than my thoughts, as weird as that sounds, and it'll trip me up. And, of course, you watch the videos that I put out, and I'm constantly editing videos because I'm a human highlight reel or a blooper reel when it comes to making gaffes and stuff. Um, I don't know too many people that'll make the kind of gaffes that I make. I can maybe call those names out, but I don't want to go there. But yeah, I'm not perfect by any means, and I don't think I'm any better at 1.5 speed. That just sounds kind of odd to me. But now you're going to make me go and listen to myself that fast to see what you're talking about. So we're 45 minutes in, and I don't see any more questions. I got to say that I am definitely looking forward to this week and getting some of my new merchandise in. It's like when you buy merchandise to resell, you don't really always know what you're going to get. And it's like getting that lottery ticket, right? You scratch it off. Maybe you're a winner, maybe you're a loser. But I'm excited for it nonetheless. And it really gets me motivated. I mean, we're here on Motivation Monday. What motivates you? What are some things within eBay that you do that you look forward to that kind of gets you going? I can tell you, of course, the opposite of that is when you get that return request, or like this message that I got about 15, 20 minutes ago. It could be someone saying they have a problem with one of the items they bought. I hope not. But that's always sort of a downer. I kind of hits me right here when I get a message from somebody and something's wrong, because I feel like I put a lot of time and energy into what I sell, and I don't want there to be an issue. And when something comes up and it's just wrong, negative, it kind of makes me it demotivates me. It's sort of the opposite effect of buying the merchandise, but it's all part of the game. No One Designed to the Chi-Ching motivates me. Yes, it does. I love it. And I think mine's broken because it hasn't really worked in the last 4 or 5 hours. So I think I had a sale earlier this morning, and that's the last one. So I need to get this thing checked because it's not working too well. LSGS Rob says, how have your sales been, John? Also, I follow and listen to a lot of different channels, but I enjoy yours the most, especially the lives. I used to sell electronics, but do clothing now, so I can relate. Sales are still stagnant, but again, it's the stuff I'm selling. If I'm being honest to myself, if I'm being honest with you guys, it's what I'm selling. You can have the best eBay salesperson. They have the perfect listings. They have the perfect photos. They are priced relatively cheap as compared to their competition. They have the best return policy. Maybe you have the 60-day free returns, free shipping. You can have everything maxed out, top rated seller plus. And if you're selling just stuff that's not interesting to people, you can only put so much lipstick on a pig, and it's still going to be a pig, right? And I'm not calling the stuff I sell junk, but I can do a lot better. I look back to what I was selling last year about this time. I was knocking it out the park, and I had great sourcing then. And so I think there's a huge connection between the level of sourcing that you do and your expectation on eBay. And I just got to find that spot. And I know I talk about it a lot, but once I find it, you guys are going to see a lot different person. I mean, I might seem like I'm dragging, but it's going to fire me up because I know that that's where you make money in this game. We can talk about all the side things you can do to your listings, all the things you can do to try to create traffic. But even if you get that traffic, eBay can only direct your buyers or your potential buyers to your listing within a search. If something's wrong with your item, your title, your photo, maybe it's just not what they want, they're not going to click on it. Oh, another thing that I was thinking about the other day, a lot of people say, best offers have helped my sales, and I think that they do. But I think if your item is priced too high to begin with, best offer ain't going to help you too much. Let's say I have an item that's priced at $30. I'm into it for 5, and my best offer my auto accept for best offer is 20. And the market is 25, and most items that are selling for that item is 25. Your buyer or potential buyer probably won't even bother clicking on your listing to make you an offer, because that initial thing that attracts them to even look at your listing is not there, and that's the price. So I think a lot of us put too much value into the stuff we sell. I think you really need to be in tune with what your competition is selling that for recently, and try to see if you can get your initial price down there, and kind of think to yourself, am I into this for $5? Am I into this for $10? What's my best price so that I can move this thing? Because I think sometimes if our best offer is $20, well, why not just lower it down to 25 with the $20 best offer? You can always negotiate with that person, but the key is getting that potential buyer to even bother trying to negotiate with you by sending you an offer. That's when they have the foot in the door, and then your sales skills, and you can negotiate usually a fair price. So something to consider. That's for sure. Oops, I totally missed that. You're not counting the fees, making a simple price and ship. I don't know. You might be talking to someone else in the chat. I apologize. LSGS says, you bring up a lot of things that I would bring up or ask. I have a YouTube channel and we'll be making more videos this summer. Yeah, definitely. I think YouTube and eBay are very much the same in that you want to stay consistent. So try to make some more videos between now and the summer if you have time to do so. BTU says, my phone stopped chinging even with sales. Anyone know how to turn it back on? Yeah, it's a tough one to fix. I think the sourcing is definitely a big key. That's for sure. Wanda Greer says, no chipmunks, please. You sound fine to me. Yeah, don't slow up my voice. I might sound even worse, like 0.75 speed. So don't do that. But I think sometimes I do that to kind of maybe get a little chuckle, mess with the speed settings. But yeah, not advocating you to do that here, because I sound bad enough at regular speed. LSGS Rob says, I would also keep thrifting to source items. You can find really good stuff, and even if it's a few items a week, that's more money in the bank. And I do. I'm going once a week, and I figure with what I'm sourcing, a lot of times the stuff that I'm looking at, let's say a week prior, is still there. There's not a lot of people on the stuff that I'm looking at. And, I picked up, like I told you guys in a few videos back, I picked up a couple Epson printers for like $7. And I know you guys heard me say no more, but I didn't say no more entirely. I said, if it's going to give me that 10 times 10x return, well, that $7 printer that had ink and it was functioning perfectly, I sold that for $139 plus the cost of shipping. And I have another one waiting. I picked up some ink for like $5 and change, and on eBay, and it's like the new off-brand ink. But that's all I need. Pop that in this printer. I already know it works because I tested this printer with the other printer's ink. And so once I get that ink, I'm going to put that up and sell it for, 120, 130. If I get an offer for $100, I'll jump on it. BXX32 agreed. Sourcing is so tough. Goodwill and Savers have gotten so greedy locally here in Ohio. People at garage sales are also getting wise. Asking eBay prices at garage sales really pisses me off. And I'm not a big garage seller, but I do know that you have these people that say, like, want $30 for this item. And you're like, well, will you take 15? And they're like, well, no, it goes for the 35, 40 on eBay. Well, then why don't you just sell it on eBay? It's because they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered with the photos. They don't want to be bothered with the listing. They don't want to be bothered with the questions and the shipping and everything that goes into it. And so maybe you need to remind them, well, if you could sell it that much for eBay, you would, but I'm sure you don't want to deal with all these things. So let me take it off your hand for 15 so that you don't have to deal with that. So a lot of those people are expecting a whole lot of yard sales. I can tell you the yard sales that I've had, there's been days where I felt like, man, I didn't sell a whole lot. But then I look at my pocket and it's like there's 300 bucks in there. And it's like, wow, I don't remember selling this much stuff. So I think sometimes it's the same thing in garage sales than on eBay. You get a lot of people that want too much for their item, and it prevents them from actually doing what they set out to do, and that's to move the item and sell it. With best offer, I think it depends on what you sell. I have price buckets for all of my clothing, so some of it's priced more than others, but I always get offers on the overpriced ones too. And you will, if someone wants that particular item and there's maybe not a whole lot of competition for it, they're going to contact you. But let's say you have 10 other sellers that have that same item. You have it for 20 with best offer. They have it for 15, and maybe they have best offer, maybe they don't. Some people just want the item. They don't want to, send an offer. They want it now, and they're not going to bother with your listings. Just something to keep in mind. A lot of that has to do with your competition. Silver Bushman says, I have a guy lowballing me. It's silver, so it has set value. So offer him something low for his silver. Yeah, it makes you, like, hey, what if especially if they're a seller on eBay, and they're trying to buy your item at a low price, it makes you think, well, what if I go to you with this $100 item you have and offer you 20 bucks for it? That's kind of how you make us feel. But just know you're not the only one who's dealt with buyers like that. Mandy H, putting too much value into what I'm selling. I'm glad you needed to hear it. It's certainly I think it's the truth. I mean, I guess I can go in and when I go in and check my listings tonight, I can maybe take my own advice a little bit too. I think sometimes we want to maximize. Like what I'll tend to do is I'll take, okay, wow, this one's selling open box. I have an open box, same condition. In fact, I think mine looks a little bit better with my photos. I think my title and my listing, my description looks a little bit better, a little cleaner. They're able to get 30. Maybe I can get 30. That's after my shipping, right? But sometimes people overpay, and it shows up in the comps as, wow, this went for 30 bucks when it's really the current market is only 25. And you're sitting there waiting for 30 when everyone's buying your competition's item at 25, and you could have moved it had you lowered your price. No One Design 2 say, hey, John, in my sales report, the need items are selling more than want items. The way the world economy is going right now, that is what my report is showing. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you have. I mean, what items you're selling. My experience is that, I mean, you could say like a brand new pair of headphones, like Sony headphones, which are hot sellers. They still are. Those are want items, right? But, you have like, well, do I really need this third bathing suit? Summer's coming and I can fit into my other ones. Maybe I'll pass this year, that type of thing, that mentality. And it really depends on the type of buyers that are buying your item. If they simply can't afford to buy that third bathing suit this year because things are tight, then they're going to pass. So just something to consider. But hey, if it's working out for you, great. I'm glad to see it. I mean, it's not like I'm not selling want items. I am selling want items for sure. But I think pre-pandemic, I think that you're getting better traction on the need items versus the want items. That's just my opinion, though. What else do we have here? We're creeping up on an hour. Josh Howe says, I set offers on and my prices are usually higher by $1 to $5 than others. It does show you have confidence in your item. Pictures are the big key. A lot of times people will look at your items just because they are curious why you're higher. Use all the pictures, give info. Don't just put the title and description, in my opinion. I agree. I will take a lot of the bullet points for a certain item and put them in my description. And, there's a lot of reasons why some people have questionable photos. Like, for instance, we're finding like I have the iPhone 12 Max, right? Jenna has the iPhone 12. Well, when she takes photos, hers come off a bit yellowish tint. Mine come off just fine. We're using the same background, same lighting, same this, same that. And while I'm sure there's a setting somewhere buried within the iPhone itself, that can be sort of off-putting to people if you have photos that just look really yellowed out and they can't see the details. I'm very certain, because a lot of times people are visual. It's like your buyers, they don't read, but they'll look at your photos. And the key is to get them to initially click on your listing and then allow that listing, the price, the details of the listing, the price, your best offer, maybe that coupon that I have hovering in the top of the listing, allow that to seal the deal. But if they're not even clicking on your listing, it just doesn't matter. We have the Picking Vegas and Beyond, the king of reselling. Hey, how you doing? Hopefully you're not out there picking in this windstorm, because it's been pretty bad out here. That's for sure. Yesterday, we're out playing golf in one of the windiest areas in Southern Nevada, and it was pretty windy, but it wasn't anything like this. Let's see. Don't forget, hit that like button. FAE deserves it. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. If there's anything that I ask you guys to do, and it's one thing, just hit that like button. I mean, I've asked you guys to subscribe. Certainly, if you enjoy this channel, please hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, hit that like button. It certainly does tell the YouTube algorithm that we're putting out some decent content, you know? So thank you for bringing that up. I certainly appreciate that. And then Tommy says, Max is way better camera than regular and pro. But you know what? I was thinking that, you know, they come out with these advances every year. It's not like I'm using an iPhone 6 or Jenna's using an iPhone 6. They upgrade the camera like every year. And, you know, why my camera is not showing this yellowish tint, but hers is sort of makes you want to pull your hair out. And it makes me wonder, you have to buy the top of the line phone that particular year to correct that problem. Wanda says, notice competition often copies my listings. I block them. Is there anything else I can do? The report options no longer works on this. I also see restocking and insurance fees, but can't report it. eBay promotes it. eBay promotes the sell similar. So you have this nice listing. It's all set up, have all the item specifics. I can come in from behind, click on sell similar, and I will be able to inherit all those item specifics you filled into that listing. Now, there's no one stopping that buyer from going in and clicking on your photo and copy paste, well, not copy paste, but copy and save it to their hard drive, and then come back in on that same listing and add the photos. I don't like the practice. I think it's deceptive to the buyer. The buyer is expecting that same item. And if there's a blemish on there they didn't show, it's going to be on them. I don't really worry about that so much. I know you're in competition and maybe it's a collectible or something like that. And it's frustrating, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Even if you report the listing, eBay is not going to do a whole lot. Now, with that said, I've had listings taken down because someone said counterfeit, this, that, and the other thing. I don't advocate you do that, but I mean, that's always an option for people. I mean, I hate that. I hate the fact that other people, random people, can go in and say, click on report seller and this item's a counterfeit, and then eBay takes their word for it. I think that's something that shouldn't be done or shouldn't be allowed. LSGS Rob says, I use an iPhone 8 Plus for all my photos and works great, but I had it change the color with the lighting. Like if I had a dark blue shirt, it would look more gray and black because of the light. And yeah, I know that the newer iPhones, like the one we have, I mean, it's like going on 2 years old, has great cameras, but, and they always highlight, you know, this new iPhone, it has more enhanced camera. You could do this, that, and other thing. I do my YouTube videos with this phone, and they come out great, but there's just got to be a way, maybe a filter that one can use on the standard iPhone 12 to get that yellowing out of the photo. Tommy says, I use the ProCam app to lock in manual settings. Maybe if you both use it and lock in the same shutter speed, ISO, and white balance, it'll stop it. Something to look into. I'll definitely check on that for sure. No One Design says, I take 1 day to draft up about 2 to 3 days worth of listings. That way I'm not rushing to list every day. By doing this, I have a buffer of 1 to 2 days of me listing, but I can still upload the listing. And it's good to list maybe an extra 5 to 10 and have it in queue. Maybe you wake up and say, you know what, I'm just feeling bad today. Or maybe someone contacts you and, wants to hang out or whatever, maybe you get a change of plans. The great thing about this business is you have the flexibility to be sick and not lose money necessarily. So have those drafts waiting for you to launch. Maybe launch them every day. Maybe launch 5 a day and keep 10 in queue, and keep those 10 like recycling in the queue in your drafts, so that you just wake up in the morning, launch 5, and then get out there and list 5, 10, 20, 30 more. Silver Bushman, if I take a depression, it'll change few things around. A depression pill, or I'm not sure what you're talking about. But you know what, Silver, think of the things that you're working for. Think of the good things that the reselling has allowed you to do, and potentially will allow you to do, and use that as motivation to to keep going. I mean, look, I got stuff out in the garage, only a little bit left, and it's been kind of dragging me and pulling me down, but I keep going. I keep getting out there. I keep getting stuff listed, and I got a new pallet of stuff coming Thursday. I'm fired up to get it, and it's now I got to get motivated to get an area ready for getting all that stuff, go through all that stuff, make sure I have a process in place. But I got a mess out there, so I need to get out there. I'm fired up to do that. Okay, description. You got me worried there. I'm like, geez, you're gonna take a depression pill. But no, if I take a description, I'll change a few things around. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, certainly go into your listings and make sure that they're right. Now, again, your description means nothing if you cannot get that buyer to click on your listing. You can have anything in your description, and if they're not clicking on that listing, that's where you get your page views. If they're not looking at that view of your listing, it means nothing. Let's see. Wanda says, yellow sometimes happen when the light bulb you're using gives off that tint. It happens with the blue tint too. Don't use fluorescent lighting. I have the LED lights that are on the one on each side, and I've had them for a while, and they have a knob. You can go from blue to yellow, and we have it closer to the bluish, and it still comes up yellow. The main reason and the one thing that I got into the reselling business was freedom of time. Nothing can beat that fact. I can wake up when I want and take off when I want. Don't have to listen to BS, and don't have to deal with that supervisor or manager or boss that wants to. And it almost, like when I was in that corporate world for 26 years, there was always one. And I wasn't even their subordinate, and they were coming over and giving me a hard time. And it's like, don't you have something better to do? And I found that a lot of people in management really didn't have anything better to do. They weren't very good at their job, and somehow they ended up in that position, and it maybe made them feel better about themselves to make someone feel bad. I don't know, but that was my experience. I think that Raiders merch will pay for a phone easily. Yeah, but then my kids would disown me because these are gifts from them. So certainly I cherish those things. So guys, we're kind of getting down to, we're past an hour, a little longer than I wanted to take. I want to thank each and every one of you. You had over 50 people on this live stream. Hopefully I was able to get somebody fired up out there. Think of the reason why you do this reselling. Do you really want to go back to that 9-to-5 job paying you peanuts? Or do you want to be your own boss? Do you want to make this work? And if you allow yourself to become demotivated, you're not going to be fired up. You're not going to get out there and get the things done that you need to make this work, so you can avoid dealing with that difficult boss or that long commute with these high gas prices, and not being able to see your family, do the things you want to do when you want to do them. There's just so many pluses to being your own boss. So let that be motivation today on this Monday, the 11th of April. And just know that this channel is here to provide the good and the bad. A lot of bad lately, but hopefully we will. I'll be able to give you more upbeat news and stuff as I get more stuff in and get more fired up myself. I need to kind of take my own advice when it comes to that. But guys, just know that if you're demotivated and looking for a reason to be motivated, it's all just another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great rest of your week, and you will hear from me very soon.